Let's see. Finally, a beer real quick. So, Leah asked me to talk about Ian Carroll. And I just don't think people realize exactly what's going on here. I don't think people give it enough thought. And that's literally what it comes down to with anything. If I'm the one that's wrong, then it should be easy to show. It should be easy to prove. You should be able to point to it and I go, you got me, I'm wrong, blah, 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 blah. I mean, that's literally what I do to everything else. I say, okay, this thing is wrong. Here's why. This thing is wrong. Here's why. And then I don't see that anywhere else. I mean, I can't say that. That's where actually the Ian Carrolls come into play. Because Ian Carroll is great. I don't want to only poo-poo him. For all I know, I could be fucking flat out wrong. Ian Carroll could be that fucking guy. But again, I'm trying to wait for Leah, so. She asked me about it. Because she says she liked it, that guy. Lots of people are like, I liked it, that dude. How did that fucking happen to black people? Black people, what the fuck is going on? How did you get tricked into saying liked it? How did this happen? And it really relatively quickly, like it happened in my lifetime. At least the modern version of it. Because you saw the same thing in the 70s, in the 60s. Like, it's really, really silly for me nowadays to see, like, just go watch Good Times. And go watch the way that the jive way black people was talking back then. And, don't be jiving me. And using so many words that don't get used anymore. Or that guy that always talk like this, my main squeeze, my happening piece, doggy, yeah. Like that was the previous version of it, but at least it was understandable. Nowadays, you got black people talking about, they're strong. They got that scrumph from the streets. What did they say? What did the girl say? What was the one where it was like, it was in the middle of it? Oh, I can't remember. She said something where it was like in the middle of the word and she still said it. But like that, you have this southern version of black people that is just, wow, is it dumb? I mean, it's so, yeah, like that was just built. They just built that perfect circle. That it's just Washington D.C. where everything's just perfect and old. You know how that works. We were watching it the other day, and the black girl said it was scrumph and discreet, but she said it in the middle of the word.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it is.
Oh my God, that was so funny. What was it? I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't either. The hell, what is going on? Is this not working? I don't know. I would think Leah would be back by now. I can't tell. Maybe is the comment section off? Because I do have the one like. Usually with the like comes the comment. Well, okay, so at least we have the one fucking dumbass bot on here. That doesn't make that doesn't make things any better. They always gotta make the people hook up, and that's just stupid. No wonder men and women don't think they can actually be friends together. You've never been shown it. You know?
The best friendship I think that I've seen has been between Severide and Shay, and that's only because Shay was gay.
Right.
But they did capture, you know, a true platonic relationship.
Right, but it doesn't count. It's like a man and a man. Might as well be. Shay was super hot though. Man, what a waste. Waste all that hotness on other hot girls. That's too much hotness. She must have been gay in real life too, because she played that role really well.
I don't know.
I mean, you know, what's kissing a girl to another girl? It'd be one thing if it was dudes, but all you gotta do is give them a couple of shots of tequila. Yeah, whoa, you think this is hot? It's really fucking crazy. The you know, you see the the anti-gay movements that are everywhere, the anti-gay sentiment everywhere. And it's literally like, we hate dudes that fuck with other dudes and dudes that dress as girls and, you know, ugly lesbians that you know, don't like men at all, the backpack, the fanny pack lesbians. We hate them. Those two hot chicks making out, like, I'm okay with that part. They still want me, right? They're not like totally anti-dick lesbians, right? They're hot chicks, so they still want me. And like, you never see that. You never see the insecure white male who has a problem with gay. His example being two hot chicks fooling around. And everyone's gay a little bit. What's his name? Ron White said it best. There's a great it's a great fucking way he like that kind of philosopher aspect of things where, you know, what do you think Ron White's a chosen? No. Ron White is as white guy tater salad as it gets. So he had to be extra funny to get to a position where we know who he is. But he said it in his one act, in one of his acts, he said, I can prove you, everybody's gay.
Oh my God, Kat.
And I guess he was like saying he was talking to his brother or whatever. And his brother's like, I ain't gay, blah, blah, blah. And he said, all right, you watch porn, right? And he's like, yeah. He said, do you only watch chick porn or whatever? And he's like, no. Okay, so when you watch a dude fuck a chick, do you want him to have a small, flaccid penis? Well, no. I want him to have a big heart. Oh, wait. And that's true. That's literally everybody is that way. Nobody wants to see. Can't say that. There are actually plenty of porn out there with dudes with small dicks. That's actually become a bigger thing. And it's actually kind of surprising that it took this long for that to become a thing. Like, you would think the majority of people who watch the most amount of porn are the guys that can't relate to the big schwants, but that's what they want to see. No, I'm not dumb enough to say ain't. Sorry, doesn't work that way. I'm just waiting for Leah. Where the fuck is Leah? It's kind of frustrating, actually. She was just here, and I've messaged her. Leah, where'd you go? Come on. She's not here. She wanted me to elaborate more on Ian Carroll. He's the truther with the mustache. I've shown you so many of his videos. He makes really, really good videos. Like, really good videos.
Like, as far as the videography or the content?
The content. And both. He's one of these guys who just also happens to be really good at cinematography, to be able to make videos that say a whole bunch of shit that if I say it, I get in trouble for it. But he says it without any sort of edit or anything.
Yeah.
What the fuck are these?
That says a lot.
What the fuck is that? Why does it look like there's a tadpole just floating in the air? Do you see this?
No.
That's really fucking weird. But you have to ask yourself, like, Ian Carroll is an extremely prominent person on all of the social media networks. Like, at least Nick Fuentes has somewhat of a backstory. Nick Fuentes actually has a Wikipedia page. Go figure. And when you look into Nick Fuentes, like, I'm not going to trust anybody that claims to be an incel. You know, I'm not, I'm sorry, but somebody that says something as stupid as, what could be more gay than hanging out with a female and wanting to cuddle with her and stuff? Like, that's...
I'm going to be going to your sister's here in a little.
That's fucking silly.
Grab her mail. Have a garbage can by the back door or something? Or the table or whatever?
And you realize he is literally just like Luke Duke. He drives like a maniac. He can fix things.
I'm still trying to get a hold of Daisy, so if it doesn't happen tomorrow, then there's always next week. No problem. But this one isn't like, I don't have a time limit. It's just driving me crazy. Not to be able to walk a little bit. But,
think about what we're seeing, what we're being shown.
Either, so if I can't get a hold of Daisy,
and literally, look at my comment section, right? Look at how stupid they are. You would think if it's my content that has them so upset, then they would be happy that I'm going against, or I'm at least trying to talk about guys like Fuentes and Carroll and all these guys. You would think that it would just like go together. But it's just, it doesn't matter what I'm talking about. Their program is to go against what I'm saying. You know, and I would prove it by talking good about Israel and watching them struggle through it. But I don't even know what I could say good about Israel. I don't have anything good to say. But just ask yourself about these guys. Ask yourself why they're allowed to exist. Apparently, Nick Fuentes was banned from every social media platform. Right? So how is he still so popular? This kid, as a kid, was hanging out with Kanye West and being taken to dinner at the White House. It's so funny. Like this is one of the best things that people do, right? He says, "No, I tried debating. I have many valid points in the past." No, you haven't. And you can go check. I don't bother arguing with stupid anymore. So what you do is come to the page and make these long-winded nothing statements, because that's fun. Where you could make some of these arguments that you said that you've made before. You could bring up anything, and yet you don't. Like, I'm gonna discount everything you say because you're a dumbass, blah blah blah. But yet you're willing to come have everything but the truth. You'll talk about anything. You'll say any dumb shit other than giving your valid points. That's the one thing you won't do because I'm just not going to listen to you. This is literally what they do every single time, claiming that they make these valid points and I just won't answer. Nothing's stopping them. If they were really worried about it, it wouldn't matter what I have to say. If they were making these valid points, they would just make them. And the people that read the comments would see the valid points being made. If in fact I didn't read those comments. You know, if you were really just you know, it was against me, you would show that, and then you would point out, see, I just pointed this out and you refuse, and you would just make it work. You know, it would actually work out well for you. But this is how they do it, right? This is how, you know, this is the best that comes my way because this is all that can come my way. Because what I'm against is inbred Israeli pedophilia, you know, stupidity just consistently across the board. They can't debunk me. They can't debate me. They can't argue. So they can make excuses, though. Boy, can they make excuses. And they prove that if I'm wrong about stuff, they jump right on it. You said this word wrong. You got this date wrong, or you math wrong, or whatever. They're quick to jump in. And they're going to keep saying all these dumb comments. All these dumb comments that get ignored. They're okay with saying all the dumb shit in the world. But they draw the line at saying intelligent stuff. Because I'm going to ignore it, they won't say it. Does that even seem realistic to anybody? It seems like such a cop-out, you know, elementary level cop-out. Well, I would say it, but you're not going to agree with me, so I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to watch you, and I'm just going to beg for your attention, and I'm going to make up stupid shit, and I'm going to say, like, it's just ridiculous. And thankfully they do it, though, right? Thankfully they're dumb enough to continue doing it because it just keeps making my point for me, you know? And not only do I not listen and not engage and all this, if I block them, they make new pages. They make more and more fake pages over and over again. They make fake pages so they can come say dumb shit. If you believe that, if you accept that, you know, again, that's on you. You know, I can only lead you to the water. I can't make you drink it. it's just a joke. It really is a joke. Let's see. I'm here to piss him off. You can literally go ahead and ask you an argument, and it's just fun to piss him off. Except point of view that may be wrong. Right. Yep, because you definitely piss me off.
Do you know how much energy anger takes?
Right. Why would I
waste that on somebody that doesn't matter?
I mean, it's not like they're even saying anything that's like what is so what am I mad about? And if I was mad and they were somehow just here to piss me off and they were harming me and making, why wouldn't I just block them? Why would I leave them there so they can continue making stupid points if it was pissing me off so much? Like, this sort of thought process just doesn't work. Leah Bia, there we are. Leah's here. Okay. Oh, let's see. You get mad anytime anybody doesn't. Yep, I get mad. I get mad anytime anybody argues with me. Again, so isn't your goal to get me mad? Didn't you just say you came here to piss me off?
Yes.
So if the goal is to make me mad and I get mad anytime anyone disagrees with me or argues, why wouldn't you just do that? You, sir, are a narcissist. Yep. I'm a narcissist.
This have to do with anything?
The stupidity of these statements is just, it's a joke.
What does that have to do with anything?
It's what's the next?
Whether what you're.
It's a programmed. No, it's one of the programmed. The programmed responses, taught how to respond. You know, given that thing, and I know all of that sounded strange, sounded unlikely, but when I show you that the secure community network connects 90% of the American friar population, doesn't that?
Who's the 10% that don't make the cut? I'd like to know that.
It's probably the 10% that like refuse to use cell phones and shit. You know?
No, it's probably like the Jason Brodes of the world, the undesirables. You know, the one family member that's the embarrassment of the family that you try to like keep everybody else from knowing you're related to. Probably those.
What? I'm sorry. Who?
The 10%.
No.
Probably that one relative that everybody hides from everybody.
No. This is a network designed to keep them safe. So they're all going to be a part of it. Again, there is a small section of them that are like Amish, you know? And so they probably don't have that ability. That
they have pigeons. Come
right.
on.
Right.
There's always the pigeons.
Which they're allowed to do, you fuck. Which they are allowed to do, you fuck. You do realize searches are connected by their THERE faiths. Uh-oh, somebody's getting mad. Somebody's getting upset and can't type correctly anymore. Yeah, all churches do that. Everybody does it. Yeah, because that's what we're talking about. Like, again, this is just how stupid you are. Although expecting basic reasoning from you in itself is dumb. Itself is one word. You know, because I'm so dumb. Just like a lot is two words, unless you're talking about how I allot for your stupidity. You know how you guys can't figure those basic things out because those are American English and you're Israeli? English isn't your first language, so you end up exposing yourself. But again, like this sort of this part where they're arguing this kind of shit, it's like it's a joke. What, did I make up the secure community network? Is that how that works? I made that one up, right? Because you don't know about it, so that means it's not true. Or, I mean, you obviously know about it. You're here every day. And I've been telling you guys about the secure community network for this last week. But look, I'm making it up. I am making it up. Is a friar security organization in North America that works with hundreds of synagogues to provide safety, guidance, and threat intelligence. SCN liaisons with law enforcement and other organizations to provide best practices for friar communal security. Funny thing is, too, like, this dumbass is talking about it like he knows what it is. You realize other communities, blah, 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 blah. Well, how did you know what I was talking about? And if you're not a friar, you're not an Israeli and a pedo, why would it bother you that I would talk about this? What motivates you to come on here and look stupid in comment after comment when this is what I'm talking about? My heads don't work all the best. Sorry, also pointing out misspellings and grammatical mistakes are the sing of a weak argument and weak mind. Yup, pointing out your stupidity when you're trying to pretend you're smart makes me look stupid. Especially when you don't actually make any arguments to argue against. You just say dumb shit. You just can't help but prove how fucking stupid you are. And yeah, I'm going to constantly point to it. If it didn't matter, you wouldn't cry when I do. But you know I'm right. Just like you know I'm right about everything else. And because of you know I'm right and you can't argue it, you know, it fosters desperation like it always does. I'm smarter than you. I just don't know how to use the right words. Fucking ridiculous. You sure seem to be getting upset now. Don't get upset. So you find out about the Secure Community Network, but the Secure Community Network, created by the Friar Federations of North America and the Conference of Presidents of Major American Friar Organizations in 2004, is the quasi-official umbrella security agency for the American friar community. And it's a really wordy way of saying they have their own police system. They have their own ambulance system, and they have their own police system. And when you have your own ambulance system and police system that is the liaison between you and law enforcement, well, then you can cover up a lot of crimes that take place, you know, within that community. I can't type all that well. I'm not chronically online. Right. You're not chronically online. You're here every single day for hours at a time, begging for attention, and you can spell a lot of words right. But the basic ones that stupid people always get wrong, those are the ones that you get wrong too. And you have you've already admitted to making multiple fake profiles so you can just watch. But you're not chronically online. Why don't you excuses and just be like you're fucking stupid, right? I'm not upset. I'm sitting laughing so hard I'm crying. You're laughing so hard at outing yourself as a pedophile and a stupid ass and an Israel supporter. Gotcha. Since so do hospitals, churches, and malls. Yep. Like this is what they do, man. And again, why would me talking about this anger just regular old white Americans, black Americans, non-friar Americans. Why would anyone give a shit about me that much? It's so funny and hilarious to be called a pedo and be the example of the stupidity I'm talking about. Like, my feed wouldn't be nearly as informative and obvious if you weren't here constantly, proving it. Always the victim. How am I the victim now? This is like the second time I've been here in like 4 months. I think I've also said I never created a fake. You said it yesterday, dumbass. Like, and you've been here many, many times. You've already said that. But see, you're obviously not someone whose word can be trusted and who's worth even talking to, because look how stupid you are. You're somehow mad because I'm speaking about killing pedos and overthrowing the friars. Gee, I wonder who's going to get mad about that. You're so worried. Me or him? Who are you talking about? You're you're worried about other trolls and what they have to say. Are you talking to me, other troll, or are you talking to him, please? And I'm freaking out. That big smile on my face, because you guys are bothering me so much that I don't just block you. Why, if you're bothering me so much, do I not just block you? Wouldn't that make more sense? So I'm gonna go look at yesterday's stream. Oh, okay. You go ahead. And we're gonna listen to you, because guess what? You can't find the comments from yesterday's stream. They don't show up. But you go ahead and you go run and hide about something else. Anyway, like, at this point, do you see why this person gets thrown into the Peter category, where just what they say doesn't matter, so just ignore it? All right, so the Friar Federations of America. I've tried to read this a couple times, but it's interesting how, like, there's just so many layers in each thing that you get talking about each layer as you come across it, and it prevents you from going further. But they are an American friar umbrella organ. Oh, the Friar Federations of North America, or the JFNA, formerly the United Friar Communities, or the UJC, is an American friar umbrella organization for the Friar Federation system, representing over 350 independent friar communities across North America that raise and distribute over $2 billion annually, including through planned giving and endowment programs. Distribute over $2 billion annually, including through planned giving. What's that even mean? There's something not written correctly here, right? Including through planned giving and endowment programs to support social welfare, which, white people love to cry about black people on welfare, even though there are way more white people on welfare than anyone else. But this is just like they have their own police system, just like they have their own ambulance system, they have their own welfare system too, where this money that gets raised and then is distributed gets distributed to the Hasidic communities that have like 8-10 kids, and yet nobody works. And they live in mansions, or not mansions, but a lot of them do, but really, like, 4 or 5 bedroom houses and really nice neighborhoods and whatnot. Social welfare, social services, and educational needs. Friar Federations also provides fundraising, organization assistance, training, and overall leadership to the Friar Federations and the communities throughout the United States and Canada. The Federation movement protects and enhances the well-being of friars worldwide through the values of Tikkun Olam Tzedakah and Torah. Subsidiaries, United Israel Appeal, Inc. That's weird. JFNA was formed from a merger of the United Friar Appeal, the UJA, the Council of Friar Federations, and the United Israel Appeal. That's weird. The organization hosts an annual General Assembly event for the board or for the broad North American friar community. All right, history. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute, what?
Oh, here. You know what?
Okay, have one? That'd be great. Yeah. Put it in my mouth. I got my hands.
All right. She laughs because she's like, that ain't happening, nigger.
No.
No. No. All right. The Council of Friar Federations. The original umbrella organization for the federations was the National Council of Friar Federations and Welfare Funds, formed in 1932. I'm telling you, man. When you really start breaking down, like, so many people get stuck on the Balfour Declaration, which is really the Rothschild Declaration. They just didn't want to put their name on it because it would be too obvious. But the Balfour Declaration, it is so late. Like, it sort of maps out the idea that the friars deserve their own homeland and this, that, and the other. But that's not the first mention of it. There was the World Zionist Council that had met multiple times prior to that, starting in 1894, I believe. You know, there was the Uganda scheme proposal, which talked about giving the friars their own land in Uganda until they could take over Palestine. And then, of course, I guess they would keep it and have Palestine. I'm not really sure, but it fell through because it. What's up, Augo? It just would have been too obvious and unacceptable that they enslave black people to do their bidding. The fact that they've enslaved the Palestinians who look just like them for the reason that they control the media, we go, okay, I guess that's not as bad. But if they would have done that, if they would have made it, if they would have tried to pull off the Uganda scheme, it just wouldn't have worked, right? It wouldn't have worked. But if you look at the Auto Emancipation Proclamation or pamphlet that they put out in 1882, that again, like the Auto Emancipation pamphlet is the Balfour Declaration long before the Balfour Declaration. And it also lays out their number one provided talking point. It says that they deserve all the Semitism they require. They deserve their own homeland. They deserve, again, the favor that Semitism brings them. And anybody that doesn't agree with that must have some sort of mental disorder. Needs to take their meds. Schizophrenic, whatever. The same shit they do today. Literally the only thing they seem to be able to do is it goes all the way back to the Auto Emancipation pamphlet, depending on how real that is. But when you start really looking at like 1930s and how they, although they might have made these statements and been working and doing things behind the scenes, the 1930s are when they really started ramping up their efforts. And this is talking about the umbrella or the National Council for Friar Federations and Welfare Funds, formed in 1932. 33 is when the Havara Agreement was signed. And the Havara Agreement was signed between the Zionist federations and the Nazis. And it was a declaration, legislation, whatever you want to call it, that moved German friars to Palestine. 60,000 German friars were shipped over to Palestine to start colonizing Palestine. Literally, the goal was to start the colonization. So strange how prior to any Hitler bullshit, blah, 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 they're already doing what the result of the war would provide them. Isn't that crazy?
Sweetheart,
Yo.
me and Gabby are gonna eat the lasagna tonight, and I'll get Nick his stuff.
Look at the comments. Look at how desperate they are. Friar are Catholic, not do. Yeah. F-R-E-I-E-R, you dumbass. But again, look at how there's literally no, oh, you're wrong about this. Oh, you're wrong. How could you even? But this is what they do. Get tired of this one. CIA, Joe Rogan. Yep. That's me. I should be talking to you distractions who aren't going to say anything of merit. Why don't I waste my effort on that instead? National was dropped from the name in 35, and welfare funds was removed in 79, right? Because welfare became a bad word. And people act like the welfare system was created in the 60s and 70s. Clearly it wasn't. In 1986, CJF established the North American Friar Data Bank in conjunction with the City University of New York's Center for Friar Studies, renamed the Berman Friar Data Bank. The purpose of the organization was to conduct sociological studies in North American friar communities. I mean, just look at all of these three-letter organizations. Three-letter, whatever, all these different organizations and councils and federations and all these different things specific for one community within the United States. There's a lot of those three-letter organizations, but they're for everybody. They're all inclusive. When it comes to them, though, everybody flips out about the NAACP. Shouldn't be an NAACP, that racist, blah, 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 blah. Or they cry about BET. If you watched BET, especially in the 90s and shit, you saw a whole bunch of black artists that you would never see on MTV. Other than if they were good enough to be on MTV Raps. But for the most part, like Michael Jackson, MTV refused to play Michael Jackson until the friar the friar that he belonged to threatened MTV with pulling all of his artists off of MTV if they didn't play Michael Jackson. If they didn't play the Billie Jean video. And it worked out really well for them. But that's what it took to get MTV to play that black artist, of all black artists, but that black artist, the unbelievably popular black artist of his day, who also ended up becoming the king of this, that, and blah, 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 blah. But BET had to be created to placate the black people because they weren't seeing their own represented on MTV anywhere. But people love to act like it's a big deal. people love to pretend like they're not getting hired at a place because the affirmative action says that they have to hire a black guy, so even though they're more qualified, they went with the black guy to meet standards. That doesn't happen. It's not why you didn't get the job. Look at how fucking stupid the comments are. Just look at. Yep, it's all lies. I am lying to you. Yeah. BET was created because black artists were being featured on MTV all the time. They just wanted some superiority. Any black organization that's ever been created was created out of a necessity because, open racism was what it was. But that's completely different than this notion that, we're told that these are the most persecuted and hated people of all time, and the people are always hate. They never want to talk about why people hate them so much. But they're the ultimate victims in the world are the people that commit genocide and then pretend like they're the victims. But this is, like I say, you just have to start looking a little bit further. So now this is going to go into the United Friar Appeal. The UJA was a friar philanthropic or umbrella organization, all these umbrella organizations, of course, that existed from its creation in 1939 until it was folded into the current organization. In January of 39, the United Friar Appeal for Refugees and Overseas Needs. I love when they talk about the United Appeal for Israel and shit. Well, it didn't exist yet. Israel didn't exist. Who are we doing here? Was established combining the efforts of American Friar Joint Distribution Committee, led by Rabbi Jonah Wise, the United Israel Appeal, led by Rabbi Abba Hillel Silver. So this is 1939. There was no Israel. Israel wasn't for another 9 years. This is the appeal for Israel, huh? But you also have to understand that by this point, at least 60,000 German friars had descended upon Palestine and were already wreaking havoc. Now here we go. Just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true. So now, using the official source, the official basically government source, which is Wikipedia, the number one source of information in the world. Now this isn't true. So who is editing these Jewish organization things, this Jewish history stuff, to put them in the bad light when we know Naftali Bennett has acknowledged, well, let's just do it. Let's just do the thing then, because it's so much easier than explaining it. Naftali Bennett, former Israeli prime minister at this point today, but at the time in 2010, was the future Israeli prime minister talking to the Israel National News Agency.
Moetzet Yesha, in conjunction with My Israel, has arranged Instruction Day for wiki editors. The goal of the day is to teach people how to edit in Wikipedia, which is the number one source of information today in the world. As a way of example, if someone searches the Gaza flotilla, we want to be there. We want to be the guys who influence what is written there, how it's written, and to ensure that it's balanced and Zionist in nature.
I came here to learn.
Right? So it's such an interesting thing to break down. Right? Let's just do it real quick.
Moetzet Yesha, in conjunction with My Israel, has arranged...
First of all, every time he says, you can tell, like, when you put it in the context. So he says the name, and then he says in conjunction with watch.
New
Shit.
DraftKings casino players get
I done
500
hit the
spins over
wrong
10
button.
days on your.
Okay, listen to the pauses. Listen to when they come through.
Moetzet Yesh, in conjunction with My Israel, has arranged.
Has arranged. It's not arranged. It's demanded. Every time he's doing the thing, it's to find the right words, because if this wasn't going to be, this was supposed to be some sort of secret, or if this was a private conversation, he would have said it differently. That this organization has arranged. This organization demanded that Wikipedia allow them to do their thing.
Instruction Day.
Wait, you gotta still go back. Oh, why the fuck does this keep happening? Listen to the ahs.
Moetzet Yesh, in conjunction with My Israel,
Doesn't pause when he's given the name.
has arranged.
When he's okay, so now he's saying the name, and then he's like, oh, what do I say? Okay, we've arranged it.
Instruction Day.
An instruction day. They have arranged an instruction day. They demanded that Wikipedia allow them to come in and show them what to say. An instruction day for the Wikipedia editors is what he's about to say.
For wiki editors, the goal of the day.
Wiki editors. The editors, the people who do this for a living. This is their job. What's up, Matt? How you doing, buddy? They are the number one source of information in the world at this point already. They're not like some fledgling organization. You know, imagine if you were the number one jar maker in the world. You had already gotten your company to the number one position in the world, and then Israel comes to arrange an instruction day to teach you how to make jars. Wouldn't you be like, fuck you, I know what I'm doing, leave me the fuck alone, I'm not doing it your way. I laid Grandpa in the hospital third time in 2 months. Sorry to hear that, dude.
Is to
Oh wait, look, the coward's leaving. I'm leaving. I don't like this anymore. Okay, so
in conjunction with My Israel, has arranged instruction day for wiki editors. The goal of the day is to.
The goal of the day is to. He's got to think again. The goal of the day is to fucking threaten them that if they don't do what we say, we're gonna make shit really difficult for them. But he can't say that. So he says,
teach people how to edit in Wikipedia.
Teach people how to edit in Wikipedia? They're gonna teach the people how to do the job on their own thing? Why would they need Israel to teach them anything?
The number one source of information today.
You're right, I should do that, but I'm not proficient like that. I absolutely need a group of people to help me set up a podcast. Because we'll make money, we'll get rich doing it, no doubt about it. But this is really interesting.
The world. As a way of example, if someone searches the Gaza flotilla, we want to be there. We want to be the guys who influence.
See, he's not struggling through any of this. He knows what he's saying here.
Number one source of information today in the world.
He doesn't struggle through that one. He's telling you, Wikipedia, the number one source of information today in the world.
As a way of example, if someone searches the Gaza flotilla, we want to be there. We want to be the guys who influence.
So, for example, if someone searches the Gaza flotilla, of all things, he happens to mention the thing where Ken O'Keefe emerged from. And he's not talking about this new thing. He's talking about this earlier version of the Gaza flotilla from 2010, no Greta Thunberg, where the Israelis did what they do, which is at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, they attacked this convoy of ships. I think it was like 6 or 7 big ferry style boats. One boat had Ken O'Keefe on it, apparently. And when they boarded, instead of just taking the ass whipping like he was supposed to, Ken O'Keefe apparently fought back, which led to 9 of the flotilla people being killed, 6 of which were found to be shot execution style in the head, on their knees, looking up in the head. And yet Israel got away with everything because they said Israel has the right to defend itself. If when they tried to pirate, their convoy ships, if they just wouldn't have fought back, then Israel wouldn't have been forced to kill 9 of them, 6 of them execution style. But because they defended themselves, Israel had the right to do what they did, and that's the end of the narrative. Ken O'Keefe emerges from that. That's the thing that he brings up. That's his example. And he says, if people search the Gaza flotilla, we want to be there. We want to be the guys that influence how it's written, or to influence what is written, how it's written, and to ensure that it has a balanced and, trying to think, Zionist. He doesn't, even with that pause, he still comes up with Zionist. He doesn't say a balanced perspective that paints Israel in a decent, fair light. He doesn't say that. He says a balanced and Zionist perspective.
What is written there, how it's written, and to ensure that it's balanced and Zionist in nature.
I came here.
From that body language perspective. I'm not some expert, but I've watched enough, right? I know that there's stuff to be said about that, especially the pauses, because it's not like the pauses are in just random spots. They're clearly in the spot where he's trying to figure out the right thing to say. The rest of the time, he knows the script, that they're there to teach people in Wikipedia how to edit so that it's balanced, and, if people look up the Gaza flotilla, this blah, 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 like it's right there. These are the receipts, and there's, like yesterday, there were a bunch of people, not a bunch, but people, anybody can edit Wikipedia. No, you can't. You can suggest an edit, but that edit then gets sent to the Wikipedia editors, who then make sure your edit is balanced and Zionist in nature. And if it is, it's allowed to go through. And if it isn't, nothing happens. So it's really interesting how people just don't understand that, like, when you're reading, like this dumbass says earlier, just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true. The internet will also tell you to mix chlorine and bleach to make a better cleaning product. Not Wikipedia. Wikipedia will tell you that makes napalm, or that makes mustard gas. But this, like, again, instead of actually arguing any of the points, this person says something stupid and then goes, oh my God, I'm falling apart. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. And if you don't see that for what it is, again, I can only just keep trying to show you. At the end of the day, here we go. Look at Derek. This is what mental illness looks like as a loser with a YouTube account. Mental illness. Yep. I'm mentally ill because I know about shit. Do you guys realize how desperate that is? And remember, this is what I told you they would do. This is literally all they can do. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. Auto emancipation. All right. The Auto Emancipation is a pamphlet written in German by Russian-Polish friar doctor and activist Leon Pinsker in 1882. Remember now when you look up this guy was a lawyer, but because friars weren't allowed to practice law, LOL, he decided to become a doctor instead. Because that's how people do things. It is considered a founding document of modern friar nationalism, especially Zionism. So when they say it's a modern founding document of modern version, that means there are older versions of the same sort of thing said about them for forever. This is just the one that exists from our timeline. Pinsker discusses the origins of anti-Semitism and argued for friar self-rule and the development of a friar national consciousness. He wrote that friars would never, quote, become the equal rights to become the social equals of non-friars until they had a state of their own. He called on the friar leaders to convene and address the problem. In the pamphlet, he describes anti-friar attacks as a psychosis, a pathological disorder, and an irrational phobia. Boy, doesn't that sound familiar? Here we are, 140 some years later, and they still can only come up with the same bullshit. That's mental illness. It's a mental disorder. If you don't believe that we're superior and give us all and then that's because you have a mental disorder. Lock you in the asylums. Like, what are the chances, right? What are the chances that not only would I predict their arguments, but then after they prove that that's all they have, show you that that's all they've ever had. That's literally all they've ever said from the foundation documents. That's the only thing they ever argued. And think about that. Like, think about what that argument does, how it just cuts through a whole bunch of shit and goes straight for the jugular. Oh yeah, well, you're crazy. You have mental disorder. And back then, asylums and shit like that, those were very, very commonplace. If somebody labeled you to have a mental disorder, mentally disabled and what is it? Psychosis, you get taken to an asylum to be never heard from again. I heard he liked his ponytail and going down on other homeless men. I'm literally inside a house, you dumbass. But this is what I mean. Do you see how desperate and stupid? Like, please keep commenting. Keep proving my point. And now we do that completely psychopathic, bipolar thing where it goes, no, we love you. We love you. Keep calling me stupid. It gets you off. Yeah, see, like, this is what I'm saying. This, of course. What other than some like disgusting, weird ass step on my cubes kind of friar, who the fuck is going to get off on being called stupid, degraded, and exposed as the pedophile that they are? Other than some weird sick pedo, who's going to do that? You know, this is the best that can come my way. When talking about the history of friarism, their organizations, the secure community network, the auto emancipation, all this shit. The only thing that can seemingly come my way is some jackass along these lines. He can't be a decent human being. He's a friar. They are disgusting. And this is where, you know, it's almost like their sympathy, almost a little bit, because you realize this is the bottom of darkness is what connects it all. The Israel Hayom bottom of darkness article is what connects all of the dots. Because, you know, you have to ask yourself, like, how could anybody be the worst of the worst? How does any group of people consistently rape their own children? If you can rape your own children, what can you do to the rest of the world? What won't you do to the rest of the world? But if you look at it like this is that process, that as children, they're all put through that meat grinder, right? And it breaks them mentally. And those that survive are fucking broken. And the only thing that keeps them sort of going is the abuse that told them they were special. They were chosen by the chosen to be this sacrifice for the atonement, the enlightenment, the transcendence of all these other adults. Even the whole 13 years old becomes a man thing. This even fits that. Because once they grow out and they become 13, they're now considered a man. So now they are on the other side of the coin. And they're then forced into raping and abusing younger children so that they can get the other side of the atonement, the other side of the transcendence. First, they're the victims. Then they get to victimize, and all of that somehow creates transcendence. Somehow that creates, you know, spiritual, you know, hierarchy. I don't fucking know. Did you see the news? Did you see news feed about the master plan for Palestine? I mean, I saw that dude that continues to think Trump is a good guy. And when you keep seeing this guy who makes excuses for the pieces that he likes, has a very chosen look about him, and is allowed to have a large following, you have to ask yourself why. They attend every beauty pageant they can. Yeah, they're disgusting. But see, again, like I was saying, I've been saying, how come nobody's talking about the event that happened in Europe where supposedly some random Arabic guy rams his car into a group of people, and yet when it's all said and done, only 2 or 3 people die, and at least one is killed by gunshot, another person is shot, and the perpetrator didn't have a gun. So the only people shooting were the police. But apparently he was trying to get into this room where a bunch of elderly people and children were locked in a room together on Yom Kippur, the ultimate day of redemption, and you know. I mean, it's very suspect. And of course, there's not going to be any sort of investigation into it. The guy that did it was killed on scene, so that's the end of it. Don't ask what the fuck was going on behind those closed doors. Like, just think about how weird that is. You know, a bunch of elderly people behind closed doors with a bunch of children that aren't theirs. Where are the parents? I'm sorry, but there's a lot more to this than what meets the eye. Oh, good gravy. I hate this fucking show. You know, there's so much more going on than people realize, but it's all really easily explainable. It's not like it's super complicated. It's not like you have to be some genius to figure it out. It's just right there in front of you. You just have to look. He describes oh yeah, okay. Pinsker had originally been an assimilationist, meaning the friars just sort of assimilate into community and not demand their own shit and make themselves targets, basically. Right? However, following massive anti-friar riots in Tsarist Russia in 1881, I mean, think about it. What news organization distribution network exists in 1881? When this guy creates his pamphlet in 1882, what distribution network did he use to distribute this pamphlet to the friar communities all over the region, if not the world? Because, you know, when we start talking about the World Zionist Conference, we're talking about 260, I believe, delegates from, you know, what was it, 18 or 20 different countries, all descending on a small little town in Switzerland in 1894. Like, what travel network is there? What the printing network that printed all of these pamphlets and then distributed them to the friars? How did they know where all the different friars lived? Like, obviously, the Tartaria, the old world, the something else is going on narrative is at play here. And yet you what are the conspirators? What are the conspirators? I don't know what that means. Who? The friars? Is that what you're asking me? The friars are the ones who are doing all of it. That's why that's what you've been, you know, when you look at the narrative you've been given and who you've been told you're not allowed to talk about, there's literally only one group that, you know, it is absolved of all responsibility and you know, and protected at all costs. It's only one group that were consistently told, hey, those guys are off limits. Oh shit. Nickelby Tuesday doesn't have any pizza, so. No, you're gonna eat your pizza. Oh, fine. Some lies sure must be fine. What are you talking about? Elaborate. Understand this is not a discussion between two people back and forth. I have no idea what you're trying to say unless you say it. But there literally is, like, in this regard, in this argument, get out. there's sort of levels to it, as always. You know, you're either somebody who looks around you and questions the narrative that you're in. You know, you've stumbled across the Tartaria stuff, and you know, you are at the very least asking, you know, starting to ask the right questions. Or you're somebody who believes that the second largest office building in the world, but probably bigger. Like maybe by like outside dimensions it's bigger, but when you look at all of the different rings of said Pentagon, it's multiple buildings, you know, in this one huge building. It's really pretty fucking incredible. But you know, no kings. Yeah, I don't. That seems like it's getting way too much publicity for it to be real. But you're either somebody who believes that the Pentagon was built in 1941 in 14 months, 15 months if you include planning, or you're not. And that's where there becomes such a big divide, right? Because, you know, it's literally it's arrogance. It all comes down to arrogance at the end of the day. People believe what they want to believe. It doesn't matter what you show them or tell them. If they don't want to see it, they won't. Oh, fuck. But you're either at that point where you're questioning, you know, and by questioning I mean no longer falling for the narrative you're given, or you're this arrogant fuck who picks and chooses which lies they believe, you know, based on, I guess, whatever makes you feel warm and cozy inside. I don't even know. But it's like I would think that the facts that we're given, you know, the truth that we're given, not making sense would be enough to get people to question things. And yet, like, do you understand there's virtually zero construction photos of the Pentagon being built? And we had long had cameras, and we loved documenting things back then. And you could say, oh, that's just top secret. No. No. You know, it just doesn't work. It's just not a narrative that works. And literally, I get that, like, you know, when it comes to the Pentagon, you know, so much of it is just there, and it's stuff that more than likely you just haven't bothered to think about, let alone question. And so it's not even like you purposefully made this choice that you believe one side or the other. You've never even given it thought. What am I supposed to be, like, reading? You're not saying anything. I have to give you that one. Which one? Yeah, see, like, just what the fuck you talking about? I don't have to give anybody anything. You have to make sense. If you make sense, I'll acknowledge it. That's just about it. Or I'll call you the dumbass for not making sense, if that's in fact what ends up happening. Oh, God damn it. Leah Bia! So you know what? Since I can't read while I'm doing this, I'm going to address the whole Charlie Kirk thing. Or no, I mean Ian Carroll thing, because Leah likes Ian, and I don't blame Leah for liking Ian. Ian is great at what he does. Is he attractive? I don't know if he's attractive. Crusher has a plan to redevelopment.
Dad, maybe when you're done with your video, do you want to play Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl and the new characters?
Yeah, I sure do. But so what happened was, what's always happened is, call it jealousy, call it whatever you want to call it. I'll agree with you. He's got a googly eye, cranial nerve damage, maybe past facts. He does have that googly eye, doesn't he? He's got that two-face. I always call it a two-face because if you hold a piece of paper over one side of his face compared to the piece of paper over the other side of his face, you're going to see two different people. And that fucks with you on levels you don't really understand. Like, we are very, very attracted to symmetry as humans. So when people have that two-face, it sort of throws us off. It's almost a weapon at this point. But to me, he gives off, I said he gave off sort of that teacher persona, only to find out that he was a teacher, coincidentally enough. But he gave off that teacher vibe. And so it becomes this really strange, almost game, right? Like I don't know. And like I was saying, I could be 100% wrong about Ian Carroll. I mean, I could just be jealous and paranoid and, all those things. But you have to ask yourself, like, why is Ian Carroll allowed to say the things that if I say them, I get in trouble for?
What?
Does that make sense? Like, he's way better than this than I am. At least by presentation perspective. He has the video capabilities that I don't. He has the editing abilities that I don't. I don't know if he goes live, but I know, like, he's really good at what he does. And he also happens to be really good at making videos and podcasts and video editing and shit like that. Like, that's a fantastic skill set to happen to have. And even more strange is that he appears on the scene in March of 2023. And earlier than that, you got to tell me, because I can't find any information on him. Strangely enough, he doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. Nick Fuentes has a Wikipedia page. But Ian Carroll doesn't have a page. Not only did Ian Carroll just sort of show up in March of 2025 or 2023. I mean, this is just a few years ago. Keep that in mind. Couple years ago. Not even, Well, I guess, yeah, 2.5 years ago, he just sort of shows up. He's on the Rogan show within months, weeks. Joe Rogan is reposting this guy just out of the blue. And you know, he says some really, what's up, open-minded. He says some stuff that's like I say, I mean, I get a lot of information from him. I can say that I have learned a lot from him in certain regards. But he says a lot of shit on his videos that the average person saying those things loses their feed over. Belch. You know, you know, himself or censor himself. He just says all kinds of shit that is so super informative and so well put and well thought out and well done, right? Fuck about your repenting. Yeah, right. I remember the COVID censorship alone, right? Well, I mean, like, you know, the thing I always focus on, and maybe I'm just an asshole, but look at my feed, Leah. You've been here for many years now. You've seen what they do to me. You know, why do they do it to me? Are you saying that would you be willing to say that I'm better than Ian Carroll? And that my presentation is better than Ian Carroll's? I think I'm better than Ian Carroll. But that's because I'm not a part of the system. But as far as presentation-wise goes, no, this dude puts on a mighty fine presentation. So if he's so good at what he does, he's better than me, right? He's clearly better, because within a few weeks, months, this dude had 300,000 plus following. He was allowed to have 300,000 plus following. People seem to forget that. People don't think about that enough. That if the person that you're seeing, that you, average goyim, know who this person is, you know who they are, it's because you're allowed to know who they are. You know, the people that have been here forever, they know about Team Jorge. Team Jorge can make 30,000 bots. Not Team Jorge. The AIM software that they use. Yeah, more genuine and real. You used to have thousands of live viewers and totally had your feed cut off, lag freeze, definitely have. Right. So why doesn't that happen to him? Why does he have multiple accounts? Why is he on Joe Rogan as a guest? Why is, you know... And the thing is, I have a lot more credibility. Because I've been doing this forever. For as long as many of you have been on social media, I've been doing it. And I've been doing live feeds since you could do live feeds. Does Ian talk about some things you completely disagree with? Yes, there you go. Because there are two examples of Ian doing the thing that always is done. Whether it's anomaly, you know, think about that. Think about how big of a personality Anomaly is. He's literally a Fox News associate. He's a Fox News employee. And yet he's some sort of conspiracy guy. But the one thing that you see over and over again, and I noticed this recently, whether it's the Young Turks, or it's the, it's Ian Carroll, or it's, I don't know, whatever, you name it. I am Blakely. They all claim, well, I have some nice friar friends who are nice to my face. So because I have some people who are nice to my face, that means you can't blame all of them. You can't blame the whole cult for what a few of the cult members do. Ugh, I used to watch Anomaly and I stopped. Daniel! Come get your poison lunch. Poison lunch. Oh yeah. They got the poisonous lunch. Oh yeah, poison lunch. I'm sure all of you guys ate like this when you were kids, right?
Which one's mine?
This one. Super alien space tech, which super awesome. What? So that's the other thing, is Ian believes in God and Jesus. With all of these truthers that are allowed to exist. I mean, in my case, they're almost shoved in my face. If I go to Facebook and I just start scrolling through, if I watch a short and then I scroll up, Ian Carroll videos pop up all the time. The system absolutely wants me watching Ian Carroll at this point. Nick Fuentes, same thing. Clips of Nick Fuentes appear everywhere. And guys like that, they all believe in Christianity. Like fucking morons, man. Like, it's one thing when it's the average moron, right? You're just some average guy, keeps your head down. You don't know too much. But when you're this person like a Nick Fuentes or Ian Carroll who can just rattle off facts about this, that, and the other when it comes to Israel. And yet when it comes to Christianity, I just don't understand. I don't understand how anybody is a truther and a Christian. So much of it all is connected that how do you keep falling for it? Have you even read your Bible? Do you even know what your Bible says? I don't think most of you have. Or if you have, you read it when you were a kid, when you were forced to read it as a kid, so you probably just skimmed through it as quickly as you could. Because as a kid, you look at this. So this random cartoon, they're in, pushing the Arab bad guy thing, crashing the watermelons. That's interesting. I'm trying to show you that the Club Sand Trap. Oh, this is the janky. Excuse me, man. I was trying to show you something, but they're not going to show it anymore. The car had an eye on the side of it. They just happen to use that as their symbolism, as the all-seeing eye, as always. Satan lives in the church. Like, don't you feel stupid saying that shit? I know you would. When you, like, I'll ask the same thing that I ask every single Christian, and I know you won't answer it, right? Why are you a Christian and not a Muslim? What have you seen or experienced that proves to you that Christianity is the truth over Islam, over Judaism, over Scientology, over some, African religion you never heard of? At some point you say all organized BS, truth and religion are a contradiction. Exactly. That it has to be that way. If you're truly looking for the truth and you're truly willing to hear the truth and you're actually a good guy, you have to come to that conclusion. It's peanut butter and jelly. You know, you can't continue to believe in such bullshit. What would you say if I weren't a Christian? I'd say you're probably dumb as hell then. Because if you say you're not a Christian but you talk about God and Jesus and shit, then you're a Christian. Just because you're smart enough to override the organized religion aspect of it, doesn't mean you're a smart person. Like, you're smart, you can sit, but they've still got their programs in you, the whole heaven and hell, God and Jesus bullshit. But you should, if I ask you why you're a Christian, you should be able to say something. If you ask me why I'm not, I'm going to give you a list of things. If you ask me about anything that I say I believe in, I'm going to tell you why I believe in that thing. We are electromagnetic beings. A lot about humans, they hide from us. We all have the power, but confuse us with religion. You know what I'm saying? Our heart is electric circuit. Tesla, copper, magnets, coils, what we really could be doing. I mean, you know, the issue with all of it, Leah, it doesn't matter what side of the coin you're on. Until we, Goyim, unify and overthrow the friar masters that keep us stupid, we have no idea what the truth is. We only know what they want us to know. Wikipedia is not the 100% truth. Wikipedia is the 100% truth that they want us to know. I can't tell you anything because nothing is definite. I don't know. Just like you and just like everyone else, we are all victims of a very carefully crafted narrative. And I always think about it like the truth is reigning, right? And so the biggest umbrella they give that so many people are standing under is Christianity umbrella. But there's way too many people for everyone to be under the Christianity umbrella. So right where the water starts coming over the Christianity umbrella, there's the Islam umbrella. And there's the Scientology umbrella. And there's the this umbrella and that umbrella, at least here in the United States. And then they know that there's not going to be, you know, enough people are still going to be, there's still too many people to be covered by both of those umbrellas. There's people that aren't going to want to stand under the Christianity umbrella. So they provide the Illuminati umbrella. And they provide the New World Order and you know, all these other smaller umbrellas that more and more people are standing under. But they're still standing under an umbrella that they're still not getting that truth rained on them. You know, and you see this like over and over again with these people, especially Christians, is instead of being able to handle the conversation, they immediately start pull cording. What? Jesus is king. You know, it's all they can do. Why did the Charlie Kirk stuff push out the Bibi Israel stuff if they want us to be pro-Israel? Why did it push out the Bibi stuff? I don't know what you mean. Look, if you have to see it for what it is, right? If Charlie Kirk was really going off script and really was turning on Israel in a way that wasn't part of the narrative, because if he would have, like, I always use the Piers Morgan example. Piers Morgan is a staunch supporter of Israel. Always has been, according to him, always will be. And yet, when the UK ambassador to Israel, this female, was in the hot seat being interviewed, and he started asking her, like, hey, there are these reports of so many children being killed, and what can you say about that? She's going, well, that's Hamas. Hamas is doing it. Hamas. And he's going, wait, well, it can't all just be Hamas. And what are the numbers of Hamas agents killed compared to civilians and compared to children being killed? And she's like, well, I don't know those answers. And he's going, well, I mean, you're the representative. You're the go-between. If anybody should know these answers, it's you. And he never really said anything else. Like, he just said that, they really do have to stop killing the children. And immediately, there was this overblown response calling him anti-Semitic, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. So maybe a couple days later, a week later, he has on the Israel ambassador to the United States, or to the UK, instead of the UK ambassador to Israel. And it's this dude. And Piers is like, hey, I got to address something. I'm pretty pissed off. How come, I've been a staunch supporter of Israel the whole time, and I've never said anything bad, but as soon as I just asked a few questions about the children being killed, I immediately get attacked. And the rep is like, oh, well, it wasn't necessarily what you said, it was how you said it, blah, 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 blah. It's just sort of bullshitted over. But that just shows you that Charlie Kirk compared to Piers Morgan is nothing. So for Piers to immediately be attacked for not even saying anything really bad means if Charlie was really going off script and really saying what he wasn't supposed to be saying about Israel, they would have absolutely destroyed him. They would have been coming out of the woodwork, and especially guys like Netanyahu would have been the first ones to call him an anti-Semite and, attack him. And yet it's the one time you don't see it. Because if they would have done that, the obvious assassins would have been them. I mean, they're already being blamed by a lot of people. And instead of Netanyahu was one of the first people to come out and be like, oh, I feel so bad for Charlie Kirk and his family. Netanyahu was one of the first to give his condolences and has now 4 or 5 times expressed that Israel didn't do it. But if you look at Charlie Kirk as if you just open your mind a little bit and you just let yourself understand, if they don't want us to, like, we wouldn't know about Charlie Kirk. You and I, average person, wouldn't know about Charlie Kirk if they didn't want us to know about Charlie Kirk. They created Charlie Kirk. If you look at his donor list, it reads like a fucking bar mitzvah registry. His donor list is literally all friars. They created this character to be assassinated. Murdered. He wasn't assassinated. They built him up so that they could pull the plug at the opportune time. And to say that they didn't is foolish. Because if you look at the response since then, it has been, probably better than they even expected. They're definitely not going to take out one of their own, a Ben Shapiro. If they would have taken out Ben Shapiro, no one would have cared. By taking out one of our own, by taking out a white American Christian, the United States is 69% white, unless, of course, you're racist enough to say that the people with Hispanic in their backgrounds, like a Nick Fuentes, who claim to be white, well, they're not really white. Then it's only 55% of the United States population. But those with Hispanic in their backgrounds who claim to be white, they're going to be even more supportive because they're hiding it. They're the Nick Fuenteses of the world. Total pieces of shit. By killing Charlie, which again, isn't it interesting how as soon as Charlie was killed, like literally as soon as he's falling back in his chair, the narrative is like, oh my gosh, Charlie was just killed over his free speech and religious views. Where the fuck how did you know that? How did we all know that immediately? Reminds me of 9/11. There's so much of it reminds me of 9/11, and so much of it reminds me of the Trump shooting. But it's almost immediately with 9/11, we knew that it was Arab hijackers working for Osama bin Laden. We knew that immediately. The towers hadn't even fallen yet before they were pushing that narrative. You know it's an operation when within 2 or 3 days, Israel puts out the Charlie Kirk angel video. Some incredibly insensitive, disrespectful, just like cringe as fuck, Charlie Kirk as an angel talking about how this should unify the United States and Israel because he's so staunchly pro-Israel. It was met with such criticism that it just disappeared, and it's even harder to find if you go looking it up online. But it definitely existed because it was all just one big operation. It's shocking how, if you just step back, I have to credit Dr. Judy Wood with a lot of how I think about things. And there's probably a majority of you saying, who the fuck is Dr. Judy Wood? When Dr. Judy Wood has the best what the fuck happened to 9/11 video that you can find. What happened to the towers? Where did the towers go? And her presentation on 9/11 is so, her presentations is so much better than everyone else's. And as far as credibility goes, her credentials is she was a forensic engineer, meaning she was someone that came to bridge collapses and building collapses and structural failures to figure out what happened. And she said that what she would do is she would go to the scene but not talk to anybody. She didn't want to hear what the police thought happened. She didn't want to hear what other colleagues might have thought happened. She wanted to know what the evidence told her, because as soon as you start letting other people put their opinions in, you start looking for the evidence to prove those opinions. Instead of just going at it as you know, Leah, did you watch Tucker's 9/11 documentary? I haven't yet. I don't trust Tucker Carlson. But let me finish. The notion that the whole forensic engineer aspect of it, where you don't let people tell you, you let the information tell you. And that's how I really do approach the majority of this, is what does the information say? I don't care what the lying ass system says. I know for a fucking fact the system lies to us constantly. So why would I ever just trust them blindly for anything? Now the Tucker stuff, Tucker is CIA. There's evidence that Tucker, as a young man, was CIA. He's one of those guys that just sort of, was presented to us, and that's where his infamy and fame come, because it was given to us. He was given that position. And so, I think it's strange. I mean, I get that it was, he released the first part on 9/11. I get that. But at the same time, man, there sure could be a lot more modern day stuff focused on than, looking into 9/11. And really, when it comes to 9/11, it's always the same answer. The only way we're ever going to know what happened on 9/11 is if the Goyim unite and overthrow the friars that control our narrative and keep us fucking stupid. That's literally it. So, what is Tucker's perspective and all that? Well, even if Tucker thinks he's digging into the truth and whatnot, he's digging into the truth that is available to us. Right? This is, you can be a totally on the up and up type of a character. You can be a me. No outside interference or shut up or influence whatsoever. But if you're not, you can be me all day. Somebody that is truly the good guy looking for the truth. But if you don't understand that the truth that you are given is just that you can't automatically assume that any of it is just true, that becomes a much bigger situation. It's a different situation. There's nobody that you are shown that should just be given your trust. Come on. Should just be given your trust, and that they're telling you the truth, and you know it, you don't question what they say. Come on, man. Come on. Yes, come on. Big stupid dog. Move. I didn't jump on his 9/11 thing because he seemed bought and script better things to focus on. Right. And if Tucker is telling secrets, why is it everywhere? Why does it exist? Why don't they shut it down? Why don't they find some sort of loophole in his presentation that, this is, you're saying something you're not supposed to say. Why doesn't that happen to him? Epstein is another fantastic distraction. Because the core of it is something that so many people believe we're not allowed to talk about. But people it's just like everything else. People just don't think about it, right? Epstein wasn't famous. Epstein wasn't a character that anyone knew by name, that anyone would recognize. He was a guy that could walk by any of you and you wouldn't have been like, oh my God, you're Jeffrey Epstein. prior to 2016, especially back in 2009 when he got caught. And people like him get caught doing shit all the time, and we don't know about it. It doesn't make front page news. So why did you? Why? How? How did someone so clearly connected with Israel, you know, the highest levels of Israeli spy communications, intelligence, like he is the Robert Maxwell 2.0 character, although he was less famous than Robert Maxwell. Okay. Why didn't his shit just stay quiet? Why do we know about him? Other than because they want us to. And just like Robert Maxwell, they kill him off. Although he's clearly not dead. Real holy water. Gross. You know, I wouldn't have a problem with the whole urine thing if it wasn't so nasty. It wasn't so smelly and stinky and gross. But I don't know why you would waste time on fucking trolls. They're just trolls. They're just there to try to distract you. You know, and these are the types of things that I want to talk about, these much bigger pictures. You know, people want to talk about me all the time, and I want to talk about the bigger picture. And this is one of those pieces in that puzzle that people just don't seem to talk about at all. You know, they just, I don't get it. You know, how can you be so distracted by something, but then when presented another piece that, I mean, okay, so I do get it. I hate saying that it doesn't make sense or whatever, because it does. If you're somebody that has put forth a whole bunch of effort, energy into looking into a rabbit hole and then sort of being a pompous ass about it, right? When that becomes wrong, it's going to affect you on so many levels that you might not even realize. You know, nobody does it because they want to be wrong. They only show us stuff that they want us to see and be distracted with. Yeah. So why was Epstein a thing? Why is Epstein a thing? You know, I mean, it's hard to say because we don't know, but there have been so many Epsteins that have just been covered up throughout the years. And that maybe they get exposed as time goes on because people are looking to do this or that. But it just shows you that, like, there's no reason why we would have ever known about Epstein. Shit's bad in Gaza. Like, it's all real bad, but like real fucking crazy bad. New Epstein shit drops. It's just, it's like, it's hand in hand. Made us think Epstein stems back to Israel. So much Israel talk now. No, Israel, Epstein was the agent, or was the Latin. It's like Trump. Trump is the face, but Melania is the power behind Trump. Melania is the agent. Ghislaine Maxwell was the agent. Epstein was just, you know, one of the characters, was, you know, she's the handler. And because we've been so, you know, programmed with sexist bullshit and all that, we just don't think that's possible. But that's what the reality is. If you really look into it, that's the connections that's there. And you know, Epstein, I mean, the reality is, what has come of the Epstein shit, right? He's supposedly dead. She's supposedly in prison, but then got moved to Club Fed prison and will probably be pardoned. He's fucking president of the United States. Like, what negative has come from any of the Epstein shit? Who has fallen because of it? Nobody. Nobody has gotten in trouble over Epstein but Epstein. We're actually being told that he didn't traffic girls to anyone at this point. There's no evidence of it. So what does it end up doing? Because everybody and their fucking mom, if you spend half an hour looking into Epstein, you're going to start to see the Israel connections. You're going to see the mega group connections and just all, it's all, you know, Wex Wexner and all these other crazy only them connections. And what you're going to end up realizing is that there absolutely 100% is a Friar conspiracy. That you know, it's as obvious as it can be. If you try talking about it, everyone will tell you you're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to say that part. You're supposed to talk about it and you're supposed to figure it out. But as soon as you get to that one part, well, you're not even allowed to say it. It's not like you're getting, you know, you're getting beat up saying it because they show you how stupid and wrong you are. You're just not allowed to say it. And so it's brainwashing people and making people subservient without, like, you know, they're showing you, they're bragging, they're flexing. Look what we can do. Look at how obviously fucking corrupt and controlled we have everything. And look at how fucked up this is. And yet if you say it, your average goyim will turn on you for saying it. It's psychological warfare. That's why Epstein exists. To rub it in our faces that this is what they do and there's nothing we can do about it. If somebody does get in trouble, they'll just do an obviously fake death in fucking federal custody, and that'll be that. You'll just be like, oh shit, okay, I guess this story's over. It's arrogance, man. The one thing that you know, a part you're not supposed to say is that they're fucking arrogant pieces of shit people. And there's another big part of this, right? Something that doesn't get talked about. But what's very, very not just possible, but likely is that there are people out there that thoroughly enjoy watching other people suffer. We all are guilty of that. Does anybody like watching the 600-pound life episodes where the person succeeds and loses a bunch of weight? No. What you like watching is the train wrecks who fail and fucking make excuses and, you know, get bigger and shit. Those always have the most views on them because that's what we want to see. You go to a hockey game and you're like, man, yeah, it was a great game, but there were no fights. It's all theater, exactly. But, and this is where it just, this is the part where I hate going into it because this is where speculation comes in. But to me, it leans into us being the ultimate reality TV show. There are cameras everywhere, we just can't see them. And you know, some of us are bigger parts of the show than others. Most of us are just extras to keep the show working, to manufacture the random conflicts that come up and shit. But at the end of the day, The backbone of entertainment is conflict. We have evidence that previous examples of us got past the conflict and were capable of building incredible things. Star forts and channels and sculptures and the seven wonders of the world and way more than we even realize. And clearly those people didn't hate each other over skin color, didn't hate each other over sexual preference, didn't think, this is equal, these people are unequal. There's no equality. There had to be equality and unification that created the old world. And it got boring. So they reset things. And every time we get boring, they reset it. I'm the one trying to answer for these things. I'm not just saying that things happened. I'm trying to figure out why they happened. Boring for the watchers, start over. Exactly. I have zero doubts that resets have happened. That our timeline, that the narrative we're told is not true. There's no fucking Columbus. There's no George Washington. There's none of that. It's all just bullshit narrative we're given. And that our timeline, I don't even know. Does it begin with my great-grandparents? Around the turn of the century, around the turn of the 19th century or the 20th century, late 80s, late 80s, but even early 90s, because something like wait a second. I'm not setting anything straight. The information is just there. To me, one of the most fascinating pieces of this puzzle is the Pentagon. I keep talking about it. Because it's just so, not only is it so unbelievable, it's one of the more modern aspects of it. So I don't know anybody that was alive and aware in 1941, 42, 43 that were in that area and can say, oh yeah, no, I watched it being built. And even if they did, how would I trust them? It's to me, it's just so, it's so obvious that the narrative we have is wrong. What it is not as obvious. I don't know what it is. I have an idea, but ideas begin, they begin and end in speculation, and I can't go any further than that until, again, we Goyim unite and overthrow those who keep this from us. At the end of the day, do you ever hear me ever talking about we should kill this person or kill that person or anything like that? I'm all about equality and unity. I want to eliminate the structures and the systems that keep us against each other. But at the end of the day, I want to give the friars what they want. I'm running for president in 2028. And when I win, and the main platform I'm going to be running on is a two-parter. Is a we kill pedophiles platform, but a big part of that is that we eliminate the cult. The cult will not be allowed to, you're not going to be allowed to live in the United States and be a cult member anymore. We are going to, the last bit of aid that any of you will get is the flight, the shipping, the everything. Take all your stuff, and we'll pay for all of you to go over to Israel and live in peace and harmony in Israel. You are no longer allowed to be here. Now, I'm not saying, you have to. If you want to denounce the cult status and admit that we're all here together and work together and no more Matitza pay and shit, then you're welcome to stay. Absolutely. You're even decent to the... Well, don't use the R word. Come on, you're better than that, Leah. I appreciate the bots. The last thing I want is for these fucking... these morons to wise up to what they're doing. It's a simple equation here. Like, you hear what I'm saying. I'm saying equality, unite, overthrow the system that keeps us in bondage while also killing pedophiles. Who the fuck is going to oppose that? Clearly, the only people that ever seem to oppose me are fake bot profiles. So who runs that bot farm? And when I ask the question, I provide the answer, or at least a similar version of the answer, which is Team Jorge or a reasonable facsimile, act.il or a reasonable facsimile, the Megaphone desktop tool or a reasonable facsimile. What's up to UK? It is 12:05 here. These men spending their time obsessed with endless commenting, they're weirdly attracted to you if they're real people and grown men. They're not, though. That's the thing. You either believe that there are a whole bunch of them, not just a small group, but a whole bunch of straight up fucking weirdos who, clearly support pedophilia and support genocide, who have been obsessed with me for over a decade, or it's just Israeli shit. I mean, what makes sense? Do you really think that there are people out there that they hate me? It's not even like they're supportive. They hate me so much that they literally spend a lifetime, begging for my attention. It's not even like they troll me in a way where I'm like, oh shit, this is really making me look bad and blah, blah, blah. Everything they do and say, it points to my superiority, points to me being correct. Why would anybody else waste their time and effort being called a pedophile and then not defending against it? It's just so clearly manufactured. I wish I could say that I had all these fans like this, but I don't. They won't let me. If you go look at my feed 6 months ago, you would never think it would be what it is today. 3 months ago, if I got down to 9 viewers and 7 likes, I would have reset the feed. Clearly it's being censored. Clearly it's being throttled. How many people do you know that go live and have 10 watchers and 7 likes? Is that something you see? I don't see that shit anywhere. And anytime I watch anybody, I don't see this. I do see trolling and I see stupidity. But not on the truther pages, you don't see anything like this. You see right through it. I mean, it is what it is. It would be... It just doesn't make sense any other way. And that's what ends up being like the backbone of all of it. What makes sense? Does the narrative we're told make sense? Does it really make sense that a couple thousand years ago, the God of the universe decided to pay attention to the earth for a little bit? And then still to this day watches everything, but just doesn't, helps people run fast and catch footballs and shit like that. But you've never, not one time in the history of Goddom, have you heard about the cop driving around through random neighborhoods when suddenly Jesus appears in his passenger seat and says, "Stop the car, my child. Go kick in that door. Never mind the warrant. Tell them Jesus sent you. Go kick in that door and see what you find." "Yes, Jesus, of course." He goes and he kicks in the door and he busts a pedophile ring that ends up exposing a much bigger thing. And when reporters and shit ask him, he's like, "Jesus fucking told me. I know I broke the law by just kicking in the door and all that. I broke the protocol. But I ended up, there were 20 kids in this house, and it led to the arrest of 500 individuals, all associated with one of the biggest pedo rings ever exposed. And it's all thanks to Jesus appearing in the car next to me. It's even caught on body cam." How come that's never, ever, ever happened? How come Jesus is like, "Here, let me help you catch the touchdown"? Fuck those kids. Isn't that interesting how that works? Isn't it interesting how, the whole two fish thing, right? So there's a side of you that probably thinks the story goes one way, but it doesn't. One day, the followers of Jesus, the disciples are like, "Hey, everyone's really hungry." Thousands of people there. They'd been following Jesus around for a while, and what to eat had never been a problem. But I guess this one time, they didn't have anything to eat. And Jesus was like, "Yay. Verily, never you worry." The story is, he tells the disciples to go ahead, and eat of the two fish and put their carcasses in the basket, and then eat the bread and put whatever you don't eat in the basket. And they're like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "What'd you say, bitch?" "Okay, Jesus." And so they eat and they put it in the basket. And then from that basket, I guess the rest of the people were able to eat. It doesn't really tell you that Jesus turned it into a bunch of different fish and made a bunch of different loaves show up all South Park style. It just says that the rest of the people ate from that basket. And so the next day, they wake up and Jesus is gone. And it's because he was mad that the people relied on him to feed them, and he didn't want them to rely on him anymore, so he bounced. That's the fucking two fish story. Do you know how fucking stupid that is? I like when I come in here and there are 8 people in the chat and it says 4 viewers. Yeah, isn't that interesting how that works? Guys, if you are watching and this is at all interesting to you, don't forget to like, share, and sub. Help the channel out, man. Apparently that's what works. Just like you would think that if somebody has 7 likes, they're going to have more viewers, but, you never know. But take 2 seconds and share this on Facebook. You can even, if you're worried about people coming at you because of what I say, title it, "This guy's crazy. Come tell him how he's crazy." Something. But take 2 seconds and share it. UK person. These men. Everyone subscribe. Indeed. so much of this is so many truthers exist, allowed to have these huge feeds, and all they do is push death, doom, and gloom, and scary, 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 and then Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. They're just perpetuating the same narrative. It's just told to you in different ways. It's just like the Bible and the Quran. They're the same fucking story. There's some little tweaks, some little differences, some character names changes, and but it's all stupid. It's embarrassing. How can you know that Islam, Christianity, and Judaism are all considered the Abrahamic religions? Abraham being the father of the friar people. The Bible literally tells all of you piece of shit Christians that you're either chosen or you're a slave. The Bible talks about the Gentiles separately several times. Those Gentiles, not us Gentiles, those Gentiles. And every character in the Bible is a friar, every main character. And basically they're able to build God phones. And they go away from everybody. Nobody can ever see it. But they go and they talk to God, and then God's like, hey, okay, everything you can see from here to there is yours. And apparently these friars then go into the town and they're like, hey, I just talked to God on the God phone, and he said that all of this is mine now. You can all keep living here, but you're going to have to pay me, and this is all mine. And everybody was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. All the dumb Christian slaves were like, okay, cool. And then it gets bad, and you get the bullshit Exodus narrative, which is literally impossible. The Exodus narrative is literally impossible. It's not, according to all of the historians that ever look into the shit, everyone talks about how this isn't a possible narrative. And yet Exodus is essential to Judaism. Without Exodus, you don't have Judaism. And yet, here we are. And you see how the Bible, the narrative that we're given matches the time we live in today. The narrative that we're given matches how we're living. Narrative that we're given matches how we're living. Narrative that we're given matches how we're living. Because it's hey, you dumb goyim, I know it isn't fair, but God's chosen people are doing it, so shut the fuck up and just let it happen. It's why you're a Christian. That is why you're a Christian. To facilitate their existence. That's it. There's no other reason why everyone is Christian. Without blind Christianity, what Israel does would be unacceptable. Thanks for being here, Leah Bia. You know you're one of my favorites. Have a great day. Be safe. I'm going to join here too in a minute. Ernest P. Worrell. Ear Nest. What a weird name, man. Ear Nest. What's the 9/11 woman again? What's the 9/11 woman again? I don't know what you mean. This is our time, man. It's happening. The world is fucking changing. Oh, Dr. Judy Wood. Yeah. Judy Wood. Judywwood. That shit, you can spend a few hours there. It'll blow your mind. But she makes sense. And she makes sense in the most vague terms, right? She says, look, I can't tell you exactly why this happened, who's behind it, this, that, and the other, but I can tell you what it appears to be, what it appears happened. Wrote a song about her called A Man Would Be Famous. It's at the TBG website, www.the-bilderberg-group.com. Normally I would have it playing, but I don't today for whatever reason. But it's free to download, free to listen to, and it's yummy, yummy, delicious. Just share it. That's all we ask, just to share it. You know, again, I keep finding myself trying to talk about something, but then just getting lost in more and more of it. I really suggest you guys look into the auto-emancipation pamphlet. I really suggest you look into the Havara Agreement as well. You know, it's like your knee-jerk reaction has been programmed into you to be like, yeah, that's not true. You can't say that. But if you look, it's all there. It's all there for you to see it. Here, let's just do this real quick. Belch. The Havara Agreement, or the Transfer Agreement, was an agreement between Nazi Germany and Zionist organizations signed on August 25th, 1933. The agreement was finalized after 3 months of talk by the Zionist Federations of Germany, the Anglo-Palestine Bank, under the directive of the Friar Agency, and the economic authorities of Nazi Germany. It was a major factor in making possible the migration of approximately 60,000 German friars to Palestine between 1933 and 1939. Did you guys know about that? That's how I got to the Friar Federations of North America, because I looked up the Friar Agency and I was trying to find the origins of the Friar Agency. So we had gotten to the United Friar Appeal, the UJA, a friar philanthropic umbrella organization that existed from its current creation in 1939. Strangely enough, right? 1939, the last year that the 60,000 friars were moved to Palestine, until it was folded into the current organization. In January of 39, the United Friar Appeal for Refugees and Overseas Needs was established, combining efforts with the American Friar Joint Distribution Committee, led by Rabbi Jonah Wise, the United Israel Appeal, led by Rabbi Abba Hiller Silverman, and the National Coordinating Committee Fund, led by William Rosenwald. The three founders emphasized that the funds needed to support friars in Europe and Israel would be triple to quadruple the amount raised in the previous year. Israel didn't exist. This happened in January of 39, or at least the organization's creation, but Israel didn't exist until 48. So how could they say that the needs for friars in Europe and Israel would be tripled to quadruple the amount raised in the previous year? While the organizations would raise funds together, the Joint Distribution Committee would assist friars in Europe. The United Israel Appeal would aid friar community in Israel, which doesn't exist, including refugees from Europe arriving there, and the National Coordinating Committee Fund would assist refugees arriving in the United States? What? United Friar Communities. In 1999, the UJA merged with the Council of Friar Federations and United Israel Appeal Inc. to form a combined entity that would be called the United Friar Communities. While the organizations had been raising more than $1 billion annually, they had faced concerns that the individual organizations were not as relevant as during the Holocaust and the creation of the State of Israel, with many major donors seeking to direct their philanthropy through their own foundations rather than through the umbrella organization. Why? Because if you create a foundation and then you funnel your money into it, the monitoring of your money and your taxes and all that shit goes away. So if you create your own philanthropic organization and you funnel all of your money into it, you still have all of your money, but now you don't have to pay taxes on it, and now it's completely unaccounted for. And so by 1999, they decided that a lot of them had been not giving to the organization enough, even though they were still raising $1 billion annually. $1 billion in 1999. What do you think that is today? $3 billion? Let's see. I'm not gonna look it up right now. The balance of power would shift to the federations, which would select about 2/3 of the 120 members on the board of trustees of the new organization. Businessman and philanthropist Charles Bronfman, there's your Epstein connection. Doesn't take long. Charles Bronfman and Epstein were really, really good buddies. Of the combined entity, responsible for planning the group's direction. In October 2009, the UJC was renamed the Friar Federations of North America. After the 2009 launch of the new logo, the Friar Federations of North America, increasing numbers of local federations are switching to some variant of that logo. An example is the Friar Federation of Greater Washington. After a couple of years of lower staff layoffs, in February 2010, new CEO Jerry Silverman laid off 3 senior vice presidents that made an estimated $750,000 to $1 million combined. So when I tell you that they create this shit so that they can have a prestigious position where they get paid really well and have that government insurance, I'm lying, right? 3 people made over $750,000 or made over $250,000, $250,000. At least. At least. Do you know how insane that is? $250 to $330. 333. JFNA declined to run the decennial National Friar Population Survey in 2010 due to reprioritizing. They're just hiding their numbers, basically. In 2021, it announced the $54 million Live Secure campaign, which it described as the largest campaign to secure North America's friar communities in history. This is where I got into the Secure Community Network, because this shit is crazy. In the aftermath of the manufactured Pittsburgh synagogue shooting in 2018, included arguably the most ambitious comprehensive effort led by JFNA ever taken to protect friar life in the United States. According to the New York Times, in addition to bringing in $100 million in federal grants through the Nonprofit Security Grant Program, the NGSP, JFNA raised $62 million to secure every friar community in North America, overseen by the JFNA Secure Community Network. That's how we got there. By 2023, 93 friar federations had full-time security donors, a more than fourfold increase over the previous 5 years. In 2022, the JFNA pressured the Friar Council for Public Affairs to fold their organization into a larger organization and mute its progressive politics, or to break away and lose funding from dozens of friar federations across the United States. The organization refused to mute or repudiate their progressive politics, choosing independence and losing their ability to speak for the 16 friar national organizations and 125 friar, quote, community relations councils, almost all of which are part of local federations. What does that even mean? In 11 months after the October 7th attacks, local friar federations raised more than $850 million for Israel. The JFNA to allocate $235 million of it. The largest share of the donations went to the Friar Agency, the Joint Distribution Aid Committee, and nonprofits in the Gaza envelope. Wow, I didn't read that part. I'd stopped at security. Wow. Like, you have to be kidding. Seriously, you have to be fucking kidding me. In 11 months, they raised $850 million for Israel. That's $1 billion. Another $1 billion that doesn't get accounted for when people talk about. And that is one organization. I'm just... It's just fucking nuts, man. It's altogether insane that this is how this works. You need to set up a Buy Me a Coffee account. It's an app so people can send you a few dollars since you're demonetized. All you have to do is go to www.the-bilderberg, BILDERBERG, and you can not only donate, but you get the free download for doing it. So it's a free download, but as I always say, you can just donate through that account. If you really want to, throw some money my way, I appreciate the fuck out of it, but that would be the best way to do it. I don't need any friar organizations getting any cut of my shit, any more than it already is. I wonder how long the demonetization lasts. I wonder if that's why every so often I get a new strike for who knows what reason to keep me in that category. Look, at the end of the day, I'm reading you what they want us to read, so they should be encouraging me to do so. The Bible is for stupid people. And, you know, you don't have to be, you can be better than. But it's a choice you make. Anyway, it is much later than I would normally be live. And I'm going to go hang out with my kids. So there are all sorts of receipts and rabbit holes to go down. Links in the descriptions. All, you know, secure links, YouTube links, and Wikipedia links and shit. And Facebook links. Go get the free download, www.the-bilderberg-group.com. Go get that shit. Go share it with your friends. It'll ask you how much you want to pay. You click 0 and it's free. Simple. And if you do decide to donate, it's much appreciated. I'm clearly not rich. I'm clearly not getting that nice $8,000 from Israel every day that certain influencers are. But I'm not really an influencer now, am I? I'm just some dude. I hope I influence you to go watch Hollywoodism. The most important film ever made. Link again in the description. The most important film ever made because it's from their perspective, not ours. Not some dumb goyim's perspective. It's from their perspective. They made this shit. Go watch it. It explains literally everything. Everything I'm talking about is explained by this one film. At least on some level. When you combine that with the Israel Hayom Bottom of Darkness article that is also linked in the description. It's the most important article ever written. It's so important that they make it difficult to read. It'll keep kicking you off and sending you to an article titled Israel Destroys Assad's Navy instead, an Israel propaganda article instead of this one article. And you have to keep resetting and but it's worth it to read it because it explains the why behind them. It explains them more than anything. It explains how a group of people can be such a horrible group of people. It's right there. It's all for you. The Team Jorge link is there. The Act IL link is there. The Havara Agreement link is there. The Secure Community Network link is there. I'm providing you with receipts so you can learn for yourself because I'm just some crazy guy on YouTube, remember? Go check that out. And also go check out TBG Songs on Facebook. The videos for them, they're great. They're actually the best weapon we have because music crosses all cultures. People can look up the words and figure out what's being said and realize, hey, this speaks for me. The live stream is the ultimate, get them here so we can all communicate. But music is where the anthems come from. So go get the free music. Go check it all out. Help the fuck out. And I'm charging you a goddamn entry fee so to watch, to be a part of that. And that entry fee is that you go get the free download or you go share some of the videos with other people. I'm giving you something for free as the cost of you watching me, as the charge of you watching me. Ouch. I'd rather give you the $5 than charge you $5. Give you the $5 to share it with somebody. So pretend I did. So pretend I charged you $5, but I'm giving you $5 back for sharing it with someone. Simple? Simple. Like, share, and sub the Facebook page. If I'm not live here, I'm live there. Like, share, and sub this video, this channel. Fucking help the fuck out. Don't just be the nothing that they want you to be. Don't just be the dumb, quiet goyim they want you to be. Stand up, speak out, be proud of us, because we are on the right side of history. We are the good guys. And because of that, I wish you all a wonderful day. Have a great day. And most importantly, again, because we're the good guys, you pedophiles, kill yourself.